With the tail constructed, we can now move on to the wing. The first step is to cut out the wing ribs. I know it's tempting to try to just punch them out, but if you do, you risk damaging a part. It's better to play it safe and cut the parts loose, then give the parts a quick sanding. Next, find the 1/16 by 3/32 inch stock, which will become the trailing edge of the wing. I know it's hard to tell in the video, but this piece has been sanded to a triangular shape, so it will fit the slope of the wing once assembled. This makes things easier down the road. Now that the trailing edge is in place, we can begin gluing the wing ribs in place. The thinner end of the wing rib goes towards the back. You will notice on the plans there are two places marked with an X where the dihedral brake will be. Do not install the wing ribs in those locations yet. We want to assemble the rest of the wing flat, and will install those wing ribs after we have angled the wing tips. You may have noticed I almost made the mistake of installing one of those wing ribs. Locate the 3/32 by 3/32 inch stock. This will become the leading edge of the wing. Glue and pin this part into place. Now cut and glue the wing tips into place. It's now time to make the dihedral cut. Cut the leading edge and trailing edge of the wing where shown on the plans and remove the wing tips from the board. The end of the wing tips need to be sanded at an angle before being glued in place in order to make for a good fit. With the center section of the wing still pinned in place, prop up the end of each wing tip 1 3/4 inches and glue it in place. After the glue has dried, add the missing wing ribs. It's not shown in this video, but gussets must be added to the dihedral joint locations for extra strength. Your wing is almost finished now. All that is left is to sand the leading edge to a rounded shape that follows the curve of the wing rib. Now that the wing is finished, we can move on to the fuselage. Glue a scrap piece of balsa onto the nose of the fuselage so the propeller hanger will fit snugly. Then trim and sand the back of the fuselage to fit the shape on the plans. Now is a good time to add the rear rubber hook. The hook comes pre-bent with the kit and is ready to install. Glue the hook where indicated on the plans and then bind with sewing thread. Apply another thin coat of glue over the thread. This creates a very strong bond. Glue the wheel halves together with alternating grain direction. This will make a stronger wheel. Now we can move on to the landing gear. The gear is not preformed and must be bent to shape. A permanent marker comes in handy for marking bend locations. Use the full-size outline on the plan as a template. When making a bend, remember that the curvature of each bend will take up a certain amount of material. It takes a little practice to get this down to an art. Be very careful when cutting off excess wire. The landing gear is formed from spring steel, and smaller wire cutters may not be able to do the job. I like to use aircraft cable cutters for the job. Refer to the plans for proper location of the landing gear. The landing gear is attached the same way the rear rubber hook was. First glue in place, then reinforced with thread, and finally a thin coat of more glue. With the landing gear finished, you can now install the wheels. If you have any extra pin clamps laying around, they work very well as wheel collars. Just press them on and glue in place.